And yes, we are back here at Holy Family Radio's Spring Spirit Drive 2023. I want to thank you so much for listening and being with us today, both on the radio and streaming audio via and also live streaming video here from our new studios here in the Glandorf Parish Center, Holy Family Radio's new studio. So this is Deacon Jeff Compton along with Deb Schrader. No, not Deb Schrader. This is Kim Schrader. Sorry.
That's okay.
There's too many.
If anything is true, it is that there are a lot of Schraders in Putnam County, and it's a great opportunity to give a shout out to our assistant Deb Schrader out there taking your phone calls.
That's right.
At 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. Give us a call, and Deb will be happy to take down your donation, however you choose to give it, whether it be check or credit card, a debit card, recurring donation, one-time donation. It's all good. Whatever your best donation is the one you are meant to give. You can also text the word GIVE to 419-969-3255. That's 419-969-3255. We've had an encouraging start, I would call it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To this Spring Spirit Drive here. We've had the phone ring several times. We've had several new donors and been able to ring the bell. We love to ring that bell for any new donor.
Yep.
So if you're listening and God is speaking to you that this is your year to become a new donor, give us a call at 888-287-0655. We've had some great guests that we've spoken with already this morning. We spoke with Jim Linthicum, who helps kick us off every year. And we just spoke with Leo Schrader, former president of the board of Holy Family Radio. We also want to make sure to give a shout out to County Electric. They are our underwriter of the hour. And we want to thank them so much for underwriting and remind anyone who's listening that underwriting is a great way to support both Catholic Radio and your business. So give us a call if you're interested in underwriting here at Holy Family Radio.
So it's time for our next guest. Our next guest is joining us by phone. It is Sister Mary Kuhlman. She is the executive director of Sisters in Shelter. And I'm going to have her introduce herself to our audience and give us a little intro into what led to Sisters in Shelter.
Well, I'm going to just give you a little history. I'm from Putnam County, and my family is scattered all over that county. So hello to everybody. It's good to be with you. But I just want to tell you a little bit about our history. There were a lot of desperate pleas from human trafficking survivors, and this became evident to us around 2005. So the Sisters of St. Francis of Tiffin joined forces with the religious sisters in the Toledo Diocese to do all that was in their power to eradicate sex trafficking from Northwest Ohio. Now, we started pretty I'm going to use the word stupid, but we were uninformed about many things. But we did know that there were people who were sex trafficked. And so the Tiffin Franciscans said that we could use a house on our campus for providing safe shelter for trafficked women. And we did that for a number of years. We decided in very long into it that we needed an advisory board. We had to plan extensive education programs. And so doing all of this, we were also trying to keep people informed about what human trafficking was. In 2014, the advisory board became the board of directors for the newly formed Sisters in Shelter, a not-for-profit corporation. I became the first director of the organization, and with the significant help of our partners, including Tiffin Mercy Hospital, a safe house was opened in Seneca County. In 2015, a case manager position was created to assist with volunteer management of the house and to provide safe house residents individualized case plans to assist them in their healing journey. An office was opened in downtown Tiffin as it was not feasible to have the office located at the Safe House because the Safe House location was confidential, and we wanted people to visit our office and also learn more about human trafficking. It was through a lot of individual grants and corporate donations that we were supported during these early years. During the period 2016 to 2019, the organization continued to expand its services and programs, and the office was relocated to another location in downtown Tiffin. And then, you know what happened. The years of COVID-19 brought many new and unexpected challenges to SIS. At that time, there was a different director, and they decided to change the kind of the extent of Sisters in Shelter, and they included victims of domestic violence. A not-for-profit social enterprise business called Hope's Landing was established as a partner with the goal of providing training and work experience with pay for a woman who completed the SIS program, and the intent of donating all profits for human trafficking programs and domestic violence services. As a result of the increase in services and experience of reduced grant funding and donations and operation challenges, the board of directors realized all this could no longer be sustained. The board made the decision to legally separate the two entities, and so Sisters in Shelter and Hope's Landing are separate organizations, and Sisters in Shelter went back to providing services only for victims of human trafficking. Now, we know that human trafficking is way beyond sex trafficking, and we know that it includes a lot of people besides women and girls. We cannot provide services at this point for men and boys, and we have not done a lot in the area of labor trafficking. There are so many needs that are just cropping up all over out here, but we have decided to just focus on women and girls who have been sex trafficked. In mid-2022, the Safe House was temporarily closed. There was no longer a paid staff, and the office at that time from downtown Tiffin was moved to the Safe House. During this time, we currently decided to rebuild and had a transformation period. And two of the original founders, me and Judy Huffman, committed to volunteering as administrators to guide the organization through the next phase of its history. And what these goals included were rebuilding and strengthening the board of directors, increase education of the board, volunteers, and the community, identifying grant and fund sources, update information on our website and Facebook page, establish partnerships with organizations and people who have similar missions, contact all past donors and supporters and give information about the transition, seek additional corporate sponsors, follow original accounting procedures and guidelines established for Sisters in Shelter in the early years, and prepare the house for reopening. Well, we did all of that, and after Easter this year, on April 10th, we decided it was time to reopen our house.
So you just reopened.
Great. We just did. However, in the process, we discovered that we had a water leak, and we had no idea where that was coming from. Well, with some exploration, we found out it was out by the street. So it really wasn't our problem, thank God. But it did kind of put us on hold until they found it and did some repair work. So we are open, but people have not called us and asked for housing, which has been to our advantage in some ways because it would have been messy to have somebody in the house while all of this was happening. But we are ready now, And we still are in process of hiring a new director. I'm getting too old for this work. I can't keep doing it. I can support and encourage, but I am choosing not to be the director anymore. And the administrative assistant is even older than I am. And so we're looking for new people who will take some of this burden and also the excitement of providing care for trafficked people. So that's pretty much where we've been over the last couple of years. And now, as of today, we're ready to start again.
And if someone was interested or in need of your services, how would they go about getting in contact with Sisters in Shelter?
Well, they call my number, 419-350-6786, or they can go on our website, sistersinshelter@gmail.com, and contact us. And then we do an interview because there are a lot of people looking for housing, even though they have not been trafficked. And our goal is to specifically help women and girls who have been trafficked. And our program is set up that they will do, they just don't come and live there. They enter a program that helps them, maybe get free from any addictions they have, go to all kinds of doctors and therapy appointments. They try to have fun together, and very little, like at the end of the day, they can watch TV and play games, but usually they have a pretty strict, it's set up individually to help them toward healing, and that can be, it's very simple, really, because we had girls first come to us who were so frightened that they slept in the closet. They were afraid to get in their bed. And so it took a lot to get them to move out of the closet, to get in a bed. And in all the years I worked there, not one girl ever slept under the covers. They live in such fear that they can't get out fast enough. And so, even with all the doors locked and with cameras, they still takes a long time to get over that kind of fear. And so it's not just regular classes that they have.
Right. I would imagine that there is a lot of healing that has to happen for many of these people who have been, in many ways, I guess, trapped in a situation, in many ways, not of their own creation, and then they have no idea how to get out of it. Do these people reach out to you, or are there others who say, "Hey, look, I know so and so that needs help," and they get referred to you? How does that happen?
Both ways. We had, at the beginning, we had FBI contacting us and different organizations throughout the U.S. that were trying to help traffic victims, but had no place for them to go. There were very few safe shelters for these women and young girls, and we only take girls after 18. So there are very few places that these gals have a safe place to kind of decompress and find out who they really are.
Yep, I would imagine. So this is really, this is a big problem. Okay, do you have any idea how large of a problem this is in the country?
Well, I know one survivor told us that she knows that in every high school there's at least one girl being trafficked. And I think that's frightening, to think all of this happens on a level of organization, and this can be happening by families. They might be selling their own kids or using their kids for sexual pleasantries to get money for drugs, or they can get into the underground organizations that keep selling women.
It's really,
So, how bad is it? Well, I can't give you exact numbers because a lot of people don't report, but I am just astonished how many people I talk to who will describe their situations and they don't have a clue that they've been trafficked. You know, they just call it abuse. But there are a lot of people being trafficked that don't even recognize it.
that's even scarier in some ways.
It is, and it's, you know, it takes a lot of education and a lot of talking for people to realize this is going on in our own little communities. We think, oh, not in Ohio, not in Putnam County, but I tell you, it does. It does, and you can look over the whole extreme of people in the very poor and the very rich. There are people all over who are being sold.
Well, that is not exactly the best news on a Easter week that we're in, but it is certainly important work that we give you all the credit for kind of being at the forefront in many ways, and in a place that we definitely do not expect it. I remember hearing about this as I was looking for guests for this spirit drive, and I came across, and I'm like, my goodness, we need to let people know about this, because while we're asking for people for support for this radio station, we also want to make folks aware of other organizations like Sisters in Shelter, that if they want to get involved with, if they want to offer their support, they can certainly do so, because that's kind of what Catholic radio is all about, is being able to highlight and promote these other things, to be able to really make a difference in people's lives. And we're talking saving lives. People who, as you say, are so scared that they're sleeping in a closet, that are going to be abused again and again. So how can people reach out to you and find out a lot more? I know it's sistersinshelter.com is your main website. How can they get involved? How can they get involved with you, and how can they financially support your organization?
Well, of course, we accept any donations to help us, because it takes a lot. We do most of running our program through volunteers, and it's a big job. And we keep 24/7 coverage in the house, so that these girls are never alone. They can always feel safe with somebody. And Putnam County is not that far away, that people could drive in for an evening and stay overnight with these gals. However, there has to be some training for this to happen. It takes more than a good heart. We have to know some of what these girls are going through, so that we are not taken off guard by the kind of language they use or the things they report. And they're testing. They're always testing to see if I can really trust these people to not take advantage of me. And so they contact us with my phone number, 419-350-6786, or find us on our website, and I will get back in contact with them. And we just really appreciate anybody who can volunteer or support us. This is too big and too pervasive to just let go on in our midst.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to be able to inform us about Sisters in Shelter and this human trafficking scourge, as we might say, that's happening probably across the world. I know it's across the world, not just here in the U.S.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being able to talk about it publicly. And I am willing to come out to any parishes to do presentations or sit down and talk with people about what's going on. So please use my name, and I'll introduce you to other people who will tell their stories.
Well, very good. Well, thank you. I'll make sure that we share this on our Facebook page and provide all the contact information so that we might gain more awareness for you and Sisters in Shelter. So, Sister Mary Kumin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, we were just talking to Sister Mary Kumin,
Yep.
sistersinshelter.com, and really kind of it's kind of an amazing little story, right? It kind of mirrors in a way kind of like how Holy Family Radio got started. You get an idea, you hear about a problem, you want to solve the problem, and it kind of in some ways turns into something bigger than what you ever thought it was going to be, what you have to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. And in many respects, that's a good problem to have. At least it has been for Holy Family Radio. But, it sounds like they really need not only donations there, but help,
Yes.
actual help from folks. So give them, check out their website, sistersinshelter.com.
.com, that's right. And see if there's any way that you might be interested in providing some sort of support or even volunteering. There are a lot of caring people out there who have a soft spot and want to be able to do something. And here's an opportunity to help frightened young girls who, like she even said, that don't know that
Yeah.
they're being trafficked.
Yeah, which is almost hard to comprehend, but so tragic, and I guess simply a reflection of the sheltered life that
Yeah.
I've lived, but and been very blessed to live. But yeah, there's a lot of help needed out there. There's a lot of brokenness and pain and victimization. And this is a great example of some people, some sisters in both Toledo and Tiffin who have wanted to do something to help these girls and women recover from the trafficking that they have been subjected to. So check out their website, sistersinshelter.fm. And you can also certainly, if you know someone that's in need of the services, you can give Sister Mary Kumin a call at 419-350-6786. Speaking of phone numbers, we have a
That's right.
phone number to give you, listeners. That is 888-287-0655. This is your Holy Family Radio Spring Spirit Drive, and we need you to call and make your donation, whether it be a first-time donation or a recurring donation. Give us a call at 888-287-0655. You can also text the word GIVE to 419-969-3255. And if you prefer to do things, through websites, you can check out our website, holyfamilyradio.fm, where there's a button right there you can tap on to donate, and as well as the Holy Family Radio app, which can be found in either the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store.
Yep.
And we hope you already have the app, but if you don't, download it, and you can listen to us through either the app or the website, as well as watch us even during our Spring Spirit Drive.
That's right. 888-287-0655. Can't say that number often enough is what I've always been told. So I assume that we still have, do we have a new donor that happened? Well, or did you already ring the bell? I can't remember.
I think I rang the bell for
Okay.
that one.
All right.
It is hard to keep track, but that's a good problem to have too.
It's a good problem to have.
Good problem
We
to
cannot
have.
ring that
Yeah.
enough. So, all right. It's time for our next guest here in the studio. After that conversation with Sister Mary Kumin about human trafficking, now we get to transition to hopefully something more fun, someone more interesting. Oh, no, not interesting. That was interesting.
That was very interesting.
Poor choice of
Sad,
words
but
on my part.
interesting. Yeah.
But you're gonna have to move that that microphone closer to you, Father Rick. Yes.
Sure, you know my voice carries.
Yes, I know
More
your voice.
than most priests. I hear that a lot.
Yes, it does. But in any event, yes, I think you should be good there. I'll listen here real quick. Yes, our next guest here, folks, in studio is Father Rick Friebel. He's a precious blood priest and retired, who is now I called him in my little schedule here emeritus. He's a priest emeritus.
I love that.
I thought you would.
Yeah, emeritus of all kinds of things as a priest.
So welcome to our new studio. How do you like this?
Beautiful, just beautiful.
I'll tell you what, it is fantastic to be able to be here and to welcome you back and chat with you for a little bit. How have you been?
Not bad,
Good.
not bad. Yeah.
What's
I recently had Mass over at St. John the Baptist for a weekend covering Father Matt Keller, the pastor, and it was Palm Sunday weekend. And I had the two Masses on Sunday, the 8 and the 10:30. And it's been a while since I had two Masses together, let alone three Masses on a Sunday. And I was wiped out, to tell you the truth. Hadn't done that for a while. Of course, it was the Passion narrative as well as the Gospel at the beginning. And so, I was wiped. Yeah, so I had to rest up the rest of the day. So, but I loved it. I love being with the people on Sundays. So. I'll be in New Cleveland Saturday at 7. So so I get around. Still getting around. Busy man I am.
You are.
So it's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, it is good to be active and be out, and pleasure to talk with you. Is there anything you'd like to talk about today?
I have several things.
Okay.
Most that we're going to talk about is serious.
Okay.
We'll be back into some serious issues. But I think one of the issues that, as I recall, when you put the email out, I think back in the time that, we're having that, this is 3 years of National Eucharistic Revival
Right.
in the church here in America. I think we're into the second year now,
Second year, the
Yes,
diocesan year. Yep.
Yeah, and so I know we've celebrated within the diocese just recently over at Kaleida. We celebrated over there. I wasn't able to be there myself. But the importance of the Holy Eucharist, I'm reminded of that on a couple occasions when I would go home near Cleveland. My dad on Mondays would spend an hour. That was his hour with two other people at the parish at St. Albert the Great in North Royalton. They had a beautiful adoration chapel that they built onto their church. Oh my, they must have spent $1 million or more. A lot of marble with the brick, and they'd match up to the brick of the church and that. And so Dad would be in the afternoon, I think it was 1 o'clock, for an hour. And you always have to have two people at 24/7. And there's a lot of that in Cleveland. And I'm surprised here in Putnam County we don't have such thing at all.
Yeah.
There's such deep devotion here in Putnam County for the Holy Eucharist and its devotion to the Eucharist in adoration. And I'm just still surprised that we have no 24/7 here in Putnam County. That saddens me greatly, to tell you the truth. I know at St. Peter and Paul it's from 9 to 6 on Tuesdays, which is nice, and I think it's wonderful. I'm sure there are other places that have it after their morning mass until maybe 4 or whatever, and that, But I am just still stupefied. It just stupefied me, and of course I'm not a pastor, but that there is no 24/7 in Putnam County.
Yeah.
And how we travel within the area, and people have to get to the grocery store, whether it's Lima or Findlay, something better than Walmart. Hello. Can I say that? I did.
Sure.
And so there is that importance of 24/7, I believe, and I note for myself the importance, because on Tuesday nights, when I have the 6:30 Mass, usually the chapel's filled, so I just spend my time out in the church, because I have the 6:30, so I put the Eucharist away, if you will, and then put the monstrance in the sacristy before the 6:30 Mass, because it ends at 6. So I do that usually when I have the Mass. So anyway, so I'm just because of who we are as Roman Catholics, the Eucharist means so much to us. It's our central avenue, is that the way I could say it?
Sure.
Of gathering as the people of God is around the Holy Eucharist, our means of celebrating and allowing the Lord to be present in our midst. And then we, in that special way, being present in his midst in adoration.
Yeah. Yeah. If anything, you lay out a challenge for us in this area, perhaps, that is so, there's no other county in the diocese that is has as higher percentage of Catholics than Putnam County, by far. It's like triple. And so you would think that because there are great faithful people here. This radio station is only here because of that. Okay. And so, yeah, I kind of echo that a little bit. A little bit surprising. And what part of that I think is because we think that there won't be enough people. We won't be able to get enough of a commitment. So why even try, But I think I found that when you lay out a challenge for something as fundamental, this is what makes us distinctly Catholic, is the real presence of the Eucharist, right? That we could make it go.
Yeah, I believe on the first Saturdays here at St. John's, they have it from after the 4:30 Mass until, I don't know, is it 8 o'clock, I believe, or something on, the 8 o'clock Mass on Sunday. It's Saturday until the morning Mass on Sunday.
Okay.
So it's overnight.
Okay.
So they do that on the first Saturday, if I'm correct,
Okay.
I believe. And so they do that. They need two people to do that. And I believe sometimes they do have a hard time getting two people to sign up.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Especially for the overnight hours, I imagine that's probably
Those early
presents
hours, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get up out of bed and then to go and do that. Such dedication, though. The dedication to the Lord in the Eucharist.
Yeah. When we had chirp weekends, now they're welcome weekends, we have adoration throughout the whole time. And I would usually sign up for 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. because, you have to be devoted and or dedicated to want to do that, and I would not stay up until whenever to do that. I would wake up and go and do it. And man, there's nothing better than waking up and going and sitting with Jesus.
Yeah. And then, I mean, and back in the day, I don't know if you recall, if you heard, there was the great 40 hours celebration in the parishes.
Okay.
And I know my recall, I'm not sure is real good, but I think it started on Friday evening, and it went all the way to Sunday. And there would be those intermediates there if there would be, on Saturday at morning Mass, there'd be a wedding or a funeral, but it would go all the way through Sunday and would not end till 4 o'clock. And those were grand celebrations where all the priests of the area would come and be there and celebrate 40 hours. And then there was a grand, that's why a lot of the rectories of today have lots of china and wine glasses galore and all, were for the grand 40-hour celebration in the rectories. Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think, Father Rick, that it would take parishes, parishioners from a variety of parishes to commit to doing it together? Or do you think that an individual parish might be able to do it?
I would think it would have to come probably an individual parish would probably have to step up to something like that, possibly. I remember Father Matt was talking about it. The former pastor at St. Peter and Paul was talking about it.
He was.
With the side chapel, that he was, working towards that possibility, because that side door could easily have put on a combination lock on that door for people to use. That's what they do at my dad's parish near Cleveland at St. Albert the Great. That's what they do with that door. It's got a combination to go in and out for people. They all know it, and but those that don't belong to the parish would not be able to get it because they don't know the combination. But Father Matt was, I think he was moving towards that. Never did get to that point, but I think really wanted to have that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
But I
hopefully
know-
somebody will be inspired to pick up a parish or pastor or
that-
individuals.
Yeah, but on that note, the chapel at St. Peter and Paul, I know that Father Scott did something grand in that chapel there, if you've been in there.
Yeah.
You know, he had the glass, the glass on both sides of where the adoration of the Eucharist, the Holy Eucharist is standing. He had etched on the two sides glass of large angels. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful.
It
Very
is
beautiful.
beautiful.
So there we are on that, yeah.
So there we are.
And who knows whether future construction of the parish center at Saints Peter and Paul might present a temporary problem at least, or maybe not. Maybe people would be more interested in coming. It's hard to know.
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So we're speaking here with Father Rick Friebel on your Holy Family Radio Spring Spirit Drive. Give us a call at 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. You can also donate online at holyfamilyradio.fm or on the Holy Family Radio app. And you can also text the word GIVE to a separate number, and that number is 419-969-3255. So, Father Rick, you said you had several things to chat with us about today, or that you
Well,
were interested
yeah.
in talking about. So, what
So
else is on your list?
I'm going to dive then from our great devotion to the Eucharist and our celebration of the Holy Eucharist at Mass as we gather, especially on Sundays, to something that has been cropping up, not been, but it's somewhat latest in the news, which I think should concern a lot of us Roman Catholics here and in the country, of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, wants to infiltrate our church in particular. Called the Radical Traditional Catholics. Maybe more so those who are having Mass in the Latin, those particular Catholics. A great consternation of our senators. There's been hearings in Washington to the FBI director, Wray, about all of that. And and one of the senators recently, I can't think of his name now, was the former vice presidential candidate with the presidential candidate back in the day with Hillary Clinton. He's a Roman Catholic himself, just recently said that, he thinks that's a good thing, that should be done. Really? That's not happening with the Methodist Church or the Southern Baptist Church. Back in the day there was some, I guess I had read, with the Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
They had done somewhere along the line that I have read. It's rather concerning to me, and should be to all of us Roman Catholics, whether we're traditional or not, whether I hate the terms liberal or conservative.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference to me, because we're all Roman Catholics, as far as I'm concerned. What also bothers me is that we can go back not all that long ago of that gentleman, I don't remember his name, who stood up to his son who was being vilified at an abortion clinic on a sidewalk, and that was all swept away legally, and then the FBI went to his home and his family with the FBI SWAT team. He was arrested and all of that, and it just seems to me that there are other instances that our Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and our Justice Department is not concerned as much with the break-ins, the breakage of our Catholic churches, statues, and turning altars over and investigating that as much. Doesn't seem to be some concern. Now that there's some investigations being pushed, now they're slightly investigating our places of, you can help me with this, our pro-life clinics
Yeah.
who've had Molotov cocktails thrown into one in Wisconsin and other places around the country, 300 and some. Hardly any investigations at all. Mm-hmm. And what is that about? When we have a president of the United States who calls himself a devout Catholic, who carries his rosary coming outside of this church. Now, I know that sounds judgmental, but it makes one wonder.
Yes. Yes, it does.
It's challenging times, without a doubt.
The things that are happening are, you talk about taking a normal, regular person and waiting until they're home and then using what you might call unreasonable sort of tactics, treating them as though they were, a common criminal or even worse. That echoes the tactics that you might look at, communist or other police states. They would, overwhelming force for this person, because what does that do? It strikes fear, tries to intimidate you and me and you and others from trying to do something.
And he was going to turn himself in, knowing that they wanted to do some other investigation. They indeed were going to do that. So that's a concern. Yeah, great concern.
It is great concern. Yeah, we should not. We need to pay attention to this, as you said. We need to pay attention to the government's intervention and infiltration. That's been proven to have happened, and it in many ways it doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense. What is the threat? Right? What is the threat? Well, the Christ was a target, and we will be a target as well.
Well, there seems to be some concern that there is justice for them, for us, and justice for them. There seems to be two types of justice in this country, and it makes us wonder, what is this all about? The kind of justice that we have in this country. And if I may slide into it, now there's a great push against our Supreme Court Justice Thomas, who himself is a Roman Catholic, about his so-called close friend that he has, who is a billionaire, has provided him trips and whatever. And as a Supreme Court justice, there is no protection against those kinds of trips and what have you. And now there is. Now they've written up new guidelines for Supreme Court justices and that he was allowed to do this, but now they're spreading this all out now against him and trying to make a case, it seems, to have him impeached.
Yeah, I think the concern they've raised there is an issue of disclosure, which judges are required to disclose certain affiliations. But yeah, we'll see how all of that plays out. It's definitely new things every day in the news to catch one's attention and concern. You're listening to Holy Family Radio's Spring Spirit Drive. Give us a call at 888-287-0655 to pledge your donation. A new donation will get a ring of the bell, which we always enjoy doing, 888-287-0655. But a recurring donation is just as much appreciated. We don't take you recurring renewal donors for granted in any manner. You can also text the word GIVE to 419-969-3255. And you can give at holyfamilyradio.fm or on the Holy Family Radio app.
Yep. And we have a donation that came in, by the way,
Wonderful.
while we're talking here to Father Rick, and it's Sue Luersman wants to donate in Thanksgiving for Father Rick.
Ah.
In Thanksgiving for you.
No,
and
thank
Father
you.
Rick.
How wonderful.
And for Putnam County.
Beautiful.
So, yes, thank you so much for that donation. And yeah, we're all grateful for all of that. And appreciate that you could be here and all that you've done. Man, you've served for a long time.
Yeah, I'll be 45 years this July. And most people know that I'm one who speaks the truth. Don't hesitate to speak the truth. Historically, I got in trouble because I spoke the truth on a Sunday Mass. most people may not know this, but back in the day when President Obama was running for re-election with Joe Biden, and Romney was the candidate. I forgot the Speaker of the House at that time. But anyway,
Paul Ryan?
That's correct, Paul Ryan. Anyway, we are forbidden on Sundays to speak about candidates in church on Sundays. Well, I did. I really didn't give a damn, basically, be honest. And said clearly that the man in the White House has to go. And I called Joe Biden a bold, fat liar, which I believe today he's still a liar. Mm-hmm. You know, they called the former president 45 a liar during his presidency. They did everything to get him out, including impeachment. And this President Joe Biden lies and lies and lies. But anyway, I speak the truth, and I don't hesitate on politics as well.
Right. Yeah, and we shouldn't be afraid to speak what we believe is the truth. It's freedom of speech, correct?
Well, and we can't have our heads in the sand, my brothers and sisters out there. If we keep our heads in the sand, and of course we have the power to vote,
right?
You know, and that's where we have the power to vote. So
both a privilege and an obligation.
Yes, exactly. So,
Absolutely.
And then I think, well, people have to be very careful because we just saw yesterday where Fox News, they didn't go on to court. They settled with Dominion.
Yeah.
The election machines. They sell it's over $780 million. They settled. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot.
They were suing for $1.5 billion, as I recall. But anyway. People are getting a sense I'm a news hound. Probably could do well as going on as an advisor with Fox News. But anyway, yeah.
Well, you can be our resident pundit. How about that?
Well, that's true. I could be very much so. Yeah. Do
So
my
what
homework.
else? What else would you like to share with us today, Father Rick?
Well, I have something I found real interesting. I in my readings I found an article that had to do with mass shootings.
Okay.
The article had to do with that there is a presence that this article written by Bill O'Reilly. Some of you might know who he is. Mm-hmm. He's on the radio now. I don't know if he's on television, but he's on radio. Used to be on TV back in the day. Was talking about a presence of evil in those who seem to be who do the shootings, because there is a mental illness edge within those individuals, not all, but in those individuals who are doing the shootings, they seem to find. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get into the business of the Second Amendment here, okay, but, And O'Reilly's premise was he was talking about the shootings in Uvalde in Texas, the school shooting, and then he was talking about there was another shooting. But anyway, then he was talking about them in general. That the individuals seem to have a sense of right and wrong, but their mental illness just overwhelms them, and that. He believes that that there's a sense of the presence of evil within them, and even in my readings, I get an email not every day but once a week from he's the exorcist for I believe Washington D.C. His name is Monsignor Stephen Rossetti.
Okay.
He used to be the president of St. Luke's in Maryland, and he writes stories about the presence of evil in individuals and whatever who have mental illness. And there seems to be a real presence of the evil one in those individuals who are filled with illness, mental illness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so as I read that article, I said, I think, yeah. There's the loneliness, keeping oneself away from friends, even with living in the same home, family house, mother or father, mother living with the one, not even knowing what is going on with their son or their daughter.
Yeah.
And, I'm not, shedding light on it, but I've been around the corner a few times. I mean, when I see a son or a daughter that, is hiding, if you will, in their room, and they're hardly around with their family and that, and, you really wonder what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where, family life, as we know today, is somewhat problematic.
Yeah. Breaking down, unfortunately.
Big time breaking down. Yeah.
Right. The individualization of everybody. The fact, this radical sort of idea that, I have this device right here, that's got my attention all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps me from getting real relationships. Mm-hmm. Somehow we get the idea that what we have here is real, and it's not.
Yeah.
And so now we got people telling us that we shouldn't believe the evidence of what we see, but rather what people think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and it's
People define truth versus recognizing truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And so, boy, all this sort of ties together, doesn't it? I mean, it is.
Time. Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yesterday in Elida, the school board met with they had a big meeting yesterday about transgender restroom or sharing or whatever in the policy, and it was on television last night. It was in the paper this morning, and is a big issue for all of us. When we think about it for a moment, this transgender and transgenderism, if you will, is being pushed greatly by lots of money behind it. Lots. Give you some instances on this.
Okay.
Governor Pritzker of Illinois, the Pritzker family, has gotten their billions of dollars from the Hyatt Hotel.
Right.
That's where their money has come from. Mm-hmm. Okay? They are a proponent and have given millions and millions of dollars. He and a cousin have millions of dollars, their family maybe, I don't know if all of them, but have given millions of dollars to the transgender programs. Mm-hmm. Foundations as well.
Right.
Okay? So has John Stryker. Probably don't know.
I don't know
Have you
that
ever heard
name.
of Stryker?
No.
Stryker makes hospital beds. They provide joint replacements. Last year, they made $17 billion. John Stryker stands to make more billions. He's worth $7 billion.
Okay.
He is gay himself. He is a proponent of LGBTQ, and he gives money towards transgenderism. These individuals supposedly they're not after just a man becoming woman and a woman becoming man. They would like to see a sexual person. A.
Meaning none.
None.
Yeah, no sexuality.
No sexuality is where it's going. It's very sick, and it is evil.
Yes.
Folks, this is downright evil, and it is being pushed like crazy. An instant is, if you are familiar with Riley Gaines, a swimmer, a winner in the lanes of the pool of swimming, recently attacked at San Francisco University, was attacked, I don't believe physically, but couldn't get things across, had to go in a place where she had protection. I don't forget which if it was. It wasn't the university police, or it was the San Francisco police, for 3 hours to be protected from the folks who are transgender. They are so militant. There is money behind this militancy of pushing and pushing. Riley Gaines then was attacked just recently by a Democratic legislator of the U.S. Senate, U.S. House of Representatives, and for no reason at all, and is attacking her, and she herself says, well, I've given up going to be in dental school. This is going to be my passion. That I am not going to allow a female or a man who has become female allowed in sports to beat females. This is unjust. This is not fair.
Yeah.
We've got governors around different states who are now protecting women's sports. President Biden says if the bill comes to his desk, he will veto that. This is unfair. On and on and on.
Yeah, there's so many societal forces, pushing in so many different directions that it can be hard to stem the tide. Sometimes it feels like a tsunami of forces against the truth.
They lost with Bud Light, didn't they? 1% they lost, or 10% of their ledger. Budweiser, it's owned by a German company, though, Bev something or other, lost billions and billions of dollars. And then they came out with a new commercial to satisfy, which I don't know if that's going to satisfy. I think they're going to have to be careful with the public in terms of purchasing.
Yeah,
it's really hard because it's throughout everything. It's throughout
it
everything.
is. It absolutely is. And it honestly is opportunities like Catholic radio and other such, whether it be books or radio, EWTN television as well as radio. It's those sorts of things that help us as Catholics to stay grounded, to understand not only that these things are wrong, but I feel at least more importantly, why, the rationale behind why these are things that we oppose as Catholics, because a lot of people just feel if you're not educated about the why, sometimes you can feel that the church's teachings are harsh or
correct.
Not understanding, not welcoming. Use whatever adjectives.
We're not compassionate.
Compassionate, exactly, all of that, and it so very much has nothing to do with that, but has to do with the grounding in our faith and the rationale behind it, and the 2,000 years of theology and morality that have been
church doctrine
slowly understood over the centuries, and not, from 5 years ago, from something that came up 5 years ago. We always view those societal trends and the new issues through that lens of the truth of the faith. And it's radio stations like Holy Family Radio that can bring you that catechesis, essentially, through the programming and help you understand the why behind what we believe as Catholics. So we need your support here. This is our Spring Spirit Drive 2023, the one time per year that we interrupt your regular programming to ask you to join with us in supporting Catholic radio. Give us a call at 888-287-0655. That's 888-287-0655. You can also text GIVE to 419-969-3255. We haven't heard that phone ring in a while. Probably we're not giving out that number often enough.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
You probably were engrossed with me being here today. Hopefully that hasn't got in the way of helping to donate here at Holy Family Radio. Please, folks, don't hesitate. We need you. We need you very much here at Holy Family Radio to donate at
888-287-0655. 888-287-0655. If you're a new donor, we'll ring that bell to celebrate you joining in with us for the first time. But we greatly appreciate the recurring and renewing members as well
Right.
who help us out. And, whether it's a one-time donation or recurring monthly donation, we are so glad to accept it. You have the opportunity for the first time this year to cover the cost of any credit card donation. As I think we all know, those fees have been passed along and are increasing and are passing along to
Right.
those using credit cards, and we're no exception to that.
Right.
They take a portion of your donation. If you check that box to allow yourself to essentially pay for that, then we get the fullness of your donation.
Right.
So give us a call at 888-287-0655. We're talking here with Father Rick, but I think we're probably coming to the close
Yes.
of our time with him because our next studio is in guest, or our next guest. Oh, sounds like Kim needs a break.
Yeah.
Our next guest is in studio and ready to join us here on the air live. So
We'll go to a quick break and we'll kind of make this sort of transition happen. Father Rick, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Really
for having me.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
Could you offer a blessing to us, and our
Sure, I'd be
listeners?
glad to. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this great day today, the sunshine you've given us, and Holy Family Radio as we continue to spread the word, the good word of the Lord Jesus Christ. We ask you to bless us all. May you smile upon us. May you be gracious to us. And may you give us your peace, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
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 Thank you, Father Rick.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So with that, we are going to go to a quick break and transition to our next guest. It'll be Jeremy Kuhlman coming in, Assistant General Agent for the Knights of Columbus. So with that, 888-287-0655, 888-287-0655. We'll be back in a short bit.
Well, I gave him.